G'day guys, goeiedag, donderdag, my name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show, and yes, a very controversial finish to a very one-sided game for the Springboks in Cardiff. 73 points to nil, and everything was overshadowed by the red card to Eben Etzebeth. First and foremost, I am a very big fan of Eben Etzebeth. He was given massive shoes to fill from the previous generation, alongside of Lou Diacha. Got to give credit to him as well. And basically, his excellence and just sheer outstanding performance as a player kept the Springboks afloat all the way till when Rassie Erasmus took over, and Rassie, like it or not, basically built all the Springbok foundation around Eben Etzebeth. There was a time where Eben literally had to play every game because without him, nothing would really function in the forward pack. And the success that you saw today was built on the backbone of Eben Etzebeth. And I think Eben will go down in history as probably the greatest Springbok ever. I'm not going to lie, and this is not a hyperbole joke. I think he will go down as the greatest Springbok ever. Everything you see today is built on his broad shoulders. With that being said, the response from him, thumb to the eye, 100% a full send-off red card. You know, for a veteran, I'm a little bit disappointed. I felt like he got goated into it a little bit. I felt like, he probably has enough experience not to do something like this. But he really got pushed over the line, seeing red in front of him, and did something that he really shouldn't have done, especially for someone that's so experienced in the game of rugby. Out of all the red cards that was given to the Springboks, all the other ones, you could argue for the interpretation of the law and could potentially be not a full send-off, but this one is a clear card send-off, full send-off for a red card. However, with that being said, I do think that he was goated into it by Alex Mann, and I do think that there should be at least a yellow or a red against Alex Mann as well for just clearly, deliberately try to goat somebody into a response to get him sent off the field. And I think the referee, they didn't really look at, they had a very brief second that looked at what Alex Mann actually did to provoke Eben Etzebeth, and I felt like there should be at least a red card for him as well. So let's take a look at everything that's happened, and I think that it's a pretty disgraceful way to conduct yourself for the Welsh as well, because you're losing the game, and then you just like, well, let's stir something up and maybe we can win something with by sending the opposition player off the field, by goading them into a punch or something stupid. And sure enough, they did achieve that. But the whole mentality of that, like, a loser's response to the situation, I really did not like that. I felt like there should be a yellow card, potentially even a red card against Alex Mann for some of the stuff he did. So let's have a quick look at exactly what happened. This is the mob going into it. Eben is there, Alex Mann's here, so bit of a counter-arcing. You might say, hey, Alex might not be happy because Eben's got may have a bit of an elbow there. So, yeah, people weren't happy there. So, bit of a push and shove. I think that's fine. It's just normal stuff. You're getting cleaned out. So, the game played on. We can't see anything more here. So, let's just go to the scuffle afterwards. So, the referee blows the whistle. Everybody runs in. There's a lot of words being exchanged. Bit of pushing, bit of shoving. And then you can see Eben is actually pretty calm at this point. He's just like, yeah, I'm walking away. That's all right. He's actually smiling, sarcastically. He's just like, yeah, I know what you're trying to do. And from this angle, it's pretty good. Eben is just like, yeah, I'm fine. He's like about to walk away here, looks like. And suddenly there was a push or pull or something. We couldn't see from that angle. And Eben gets really angry. And he starts to really apply, he really starts to get into it, and then we can see from another angle here at the end. So let's do this one slow motion. At the end, he pushes that is 100% a red card and potentially a very long suspension there as well. It's definitely that's very bad for a look for the game of rugby. There's no excuse for that. That's But my argument is that Alex Mann should be sent off for instigating this. So this is a really good shot. We only get a brief moment what happens. So Eben Etzebeth is like, being smiling sarcastically here. and Alex is about to walk away. Alex throws a palm and hits Eben in the jaw and grabs him in the shirt. See here, Eben is still like, he's looking at the referee like, hey, did you see that? Like, what? He's still no response. So all credit to Eben. He just literally got palmed on the face. Eben's like, did you see that? No. And then Alex aggressively yanks him. You can see yanks him forward, and that initiated all of this response from Eben. So there's absolutely no doubt Alex Mann initiated and deliberately instigated the response because he was losing the game, and I think that is just such a poor mentality. Like, you lose the game on the field, and then just literally do everything you can to try to stir something up, and you got it. You got Eben sent off. Congratulations, but really, really poor sportsmanship from Alex Mann. And yeah, I think there should have been a yellow, at least a yellow, and potentially a red card against him as well. I think probably should have been a red card for the palm there, if in fact straight send off. And maybe he will get cited, maybe not. We'll have to see. But that is disgraceful. But hey, let's talk about rugby. Let's talk about the game. Let's not let this incident overshadow the absolutely outstanding performance out there by the Springbok team. So the Welsh, let's go first, because there's not much to talk about. The one thing the Welsh did really good is the Lionel Moore defense. The Springboks wasn't able to score any more try, I believe. It was pretty well managed by the Welsh. So they do have the talent. They do have the technique to deal with a lot of the comeback, a lot of the close area strength from the Springboks. But the scrummaging wasn't good enough. I felt like it wasn't tight enough on the Welsh. If you look at something that I talked about in the scrum analysis in the previous week, the Welsh did try to collapse the scrum immediately, or bait the Springbok a little bit by not taking the hit. They did actually get away with a couple short arms for themselves for that. So definitely did their homework, but the Springboks was able to get an overwhelming dominance outside of the brief moments where the Welsh was able to get away with some of the 50-50 calls at the beginning of the scrum. But yeah, outside of that, there was pretty much one-sided domination for the scrum. There was one scrum where the Springboks didn't hook the ball, says the referee, leading to losing the ball. Yeah, that was a bit interesting as well, because nowadays we see a lot of the hooker and the halfback just throw the ball straight back, which should not be allowed. But yeah, no hooking the ball. I didn't know that's actually a penalty if you don't hook the ball. But it was a turnover for not hooking the ball, which was a bit of an interesting call. Outside of that, the Springboks continued with some of the areas that they wanted to improve. Rassie Erasmus, once again, did not waste an opportunity by making 20 changes and putting on the B team and go out there and play like delivered a much closer result. He did pretty much put on the strongest possible team in the starting team, and then made some changes in the bench, in the bomb squad. But yeah, it really showed the respect to the Welsh, despite, you're the number 1 ranked team playing the 12th ranked team in the world. There's a huge gap there. Despite that, they still showed the respect to the Welsh fans that pay the money to come to see this game, to their own fans who showed to come see some of the big players on the field, like Siya Kolisi, and then to really, again, hone their skills in some of the key areas they probably weren't happy about last week. The inability to convert that dominance into points. They converted that this week into their points. And also, one of the things I think that the Springboks is so brilliant is that they don't just win the game and look at how good they did and try to just be happy about their own excellence. You see that a lot with the teams nowadays. Something they do really well, they just continue to emphasize on the winning bits, and they try to obviously improve on their poor parts. Springbok is one of the few teams out there they actually analyze what the other teams do well against them, and they try to do stuff they try to actually absorb some of the good stuff on the other team and utilize it for themselves. This is something that we don't see that much from other teams. They generally stick to a game plan and try to fix the problem and focus on what they do well. But the Springboks is the only team that takes something that was really good against them and incorporate that into their own team. And I am indeed talk about not kicking penalty goals and really try to apply pressure and build the fatigue, and then really snowball that physicality into the second half, into this massive finish, 73 points. So this is something that I think maybe the Springbok learned from the Wallabies, right? The Wallabies, when they played the Springboks, didn't kick any penalty goals and really apply pressure on the Springboks. They upset at Ellis Park. The Springboks, they felt the fatigue in the second half, and that's why they didn't score any points and allow the Wallabies to come back and win the game. They felt that. Every player felt that on the field, and Rassie really, we saw the Springboks, in 2023 Rugby World Cup, the strategy was basically scrum, penalty, take 3 points. Springboks has clearly shifted away from that. Scrum, penalty, let's see where we're at. Should this is not just straight 3 points anymore. Sometimes they still take the 3. Sometimes, a lot of times now, they look at where they are in the field and they look at, where the momentum is, and they decide to go for the jugular and go for the try. That is something that is a clear shift in mindset. That's something that they probably felt, that relentless pressure, that fatigue factor that kicked into against them from the Wallabies early in the season. And there's a clearly transition into that. And it's really showed this game. The second half is really where the Springbok just absolutely blown the Welsh away for the most part. And there was almost no threat from the Welsh at all because of the fatigue. Like, even when they did get the ball, they really didn't have much to do. Couldn't really create much of a threat. There was a little bit for the most part of the game. And that is just, again, the brilliance of the Springbok game plan. It's like a chess game Rassie's playing, right? He's not just playing for what is immediately in front of him. There's a pawn, right? It's like when you play, it's like when you play a game, there's a pawn in front of a game of chess. You can take the pawn, right? And immediately get 3 points on the board. Or you could play the long game and really try to squeeze everything out of it and make sure that you sweep the board and leave nothing but a king to defend against, your entire force still left attached. And that's the game plan of the Springboks that I saw tonight, and this was really, really outstanding once again. So yeah, outside of that, I thought the bomb squad that came on, a lot of new faces. The 7-1 on the bench as well, just going back to some of their game plan that worked before. Andre Esterhuizen gets put back at 12. Whew. And Damian de Linda moved to 13. I actually don't know if I've seen de Linda at 13 before. He's usually, in fact, has he played 13 for the Springboks before? At least since Rassie taken over, I've always seen him at 12. This might be, one of the. Some guy would know would know better than me, but I can't actually remember the last time he played 13 for the Springboks. Also, big return, Bungi Munabi off the bench as well for the Springbok scrum in the second half. Overall, Rassie is just the game plan. Just really, really just starting to move towards towards just being even, just despite winning 2 World Cups, he's still looking at every little way that he can to improve the Springboks. And I thought this was another outstanding performance out that, again, I don't know why the Springboks had to wear their away jersey. I talked about this in the last game. I think the home team should be wearing their away jersey and the Springboks should be allowed to wear their home jersey. One of you guys actually made a good point. One of the good thing about letting the away team wear the home jersey is your home fans don't get to see that. See the away, because the away jersey is always white. Everybody gets white. There's nothing to see. Your home fans sees your home team in your home jersey all the time. So when Springbok comes to visit, you only get to see them once, every couple of years or something. You want to see the green jersey, the iconic green, green and gold, and you don't want to see a white jersey anyway. So I think it's it's disrespecting your own fans. You really should let your own fans see the away team in their home jerseys. Because you do see your home jersey all the time. Just a stupid decision, even from a business point of view. So I don't know why they do that, and I really hope that they switch it back to the rugby traditions that we've had for forever. So let's have a look at the stats of the game. 11 tries for the Springboks to 0, 506 scrum meters to the Welsh, 147. 131 carries for the Springboks, for the Welsh, 69. 25 defenders different for Springboks, to the Welsh, 10. 18 turnovers conceded against the Springboks, a little bit high there. 14 against the Welsh. 179 tackles made for the Welsh, 25 missed tackles. There weren't that many missed tackles, to be honest, from the Welsh. They were just brute force, a lot of it just being brute forced over the try line from the Springboks. 92 tackles made for the Springboks, 10 missed tackles overall. 28 kicks in play for the Welsh, 29 for the Springboks, 2 missed out of 11. not 572 kick meters from hand. Like, I really want to sneeze. I'm sorry. I really feel like sneezing. 572 kick meters from Welsh. 729 for the Springboks. Let's go to the set plate. 11 lineouts for the Welsh. No loss. It's pretty good. Springboks 20. No loss themselves. There was a few lineouts where it was like overthrown, disrupted, but not actually lost against the Springboks. It's a really, really outstanding effort for the Welsh there. 2 scrum losses for the Welsh out of 5. 5 Springboks. There was 1 loss. Like I said, the scrum thrown in. The referee, he said he didn't hook the ball. I didn't know that was a turnover, but it is what it is. 16 penalties considered against the Welsh. 2 yellow cards for repeated penalties. 10 penalties are considered from the Springboks. 1 red card for Eben Etzebeth incident. Anyway, let's have a look at a quick recap of the get try. There's really not too much to say. It's a one-sided blowout. 8 minutes into the game, there was a scrum penalty to the Springboks. They went for the maul. It looked like maybe the maul has been taken down, but the referee said it's fine, no penalty. The Springbok built a lot of pressure in midfield, and Steenekamp, pick and go, went for the try. 7 points to nil. 40 minutes in the game, there was another scrum penalty. The Springboks taking the ball out, went to the short side, good hands. Ethan, not a hooker, ran down the sideline. Try time, 14 points to nil. 30 minutes in the game, the maul, what happened here? Oh yeah, the scrum, right in front of the try line, multiple penalties given out, and the Springboks marched forward, the scrum went up. By the way, some of you guys were saying, oh, why don't the team just go backwards? Whether the scrum goes up or down really depends on how good the locks are in terms of locking the props in. So if the locks actually give away their, loosens the bind, that actually allows the scrum to go up, and it's not up to the props to go up or down, right? So if the scrum goes up, this is the only chance the scrum could actually get pushed backwards for a pushover try from the Springboks. Whereas if the scrum goes down, because the locks has basically pinched the scrum at the props in, there's no chance for that to walk over. So it's not really up to the props to go up or down. And I heard one of the commentary guy was saying like, oh, the props tries to pull the maul down. Like I said, it is like if the scrum gets pushed up and then you try to pull the maul, collapse the scrum, based on my experience, it's actually not possible as a front row, as a prop, because you're literally getting lifted off. It's literally getting pinched on your chest and getting lifted off your feet. You actually don't have any option to go down. Even if you try, it's not gonna happen. So again, I think there was a bit of a again, the commentary was just giving wrong information. The props, when you're under so much pressure and you're getting pinched from the locks behind you, you don't have an option. The only chance for the scrum to be pulled down is at the beginning, which the Welsh did a number of times and got some 50-50 calls against for them. But once the scrum is getting dominated, you're going backwards and you're getting pinched, you're getting basically locked in from your own locks. There's no chance for you to actually do anything in terms of try to push the scrum down or push the scrum up. You're just at the mercy of where everybody else is in the ruck and in the scrum, and you just go with it. So I thought the commentary was incorrect when they made that assessment that they didn't try to pull the scrum down when they really didn't have an option to. They couldn't. Even if you tried, you couldn't pull it down when you're getting pushed up from underneath you. 43 minutes in the game, just before halftime, the Springboks showed once again their ruthlessness. They could have gone into halftime, but they went for another scrum option. And then they went down, another penalty advantage, went down the sideline, went down the middle, crashed under Esterhazen, and then pick and dry, Jasper Wiese went over, Jasper Wiese, and then another pick and go, Morne van den Berg, the number 9, went in for the try, 28 points to nil. Second half, 42 minutes in, there was a line out. The Springboks didn't quite get there. A lot of offside penalties. There was a yellow card to Plumtree, and then there was a tap and go. There was a yellow card to Plumtree before, at the end of it, but there was a lot of pick and go. And eventually, Wilco Low drives over for the try, 35 points to nil. 45 minutes again, there was another penalty. Sarja faked to kick the ball out. He just went for tap and go, and then he just ran straight through a bunch of offside players for the try. 42 points to nil. 48 minutes into the game, the Welsh went for a finally to build some pressure inside the Springbok half, and then there was a loose pass. Moody drops the ball and he kicks the ball forward, and then he follows through with some soccer skills and grounds the ball for the try. People might say, oh, he lost control of the ball. Yeah, losing control of the ball is fine if in the process of scoring a try. So if you're scoring a try and lose control of the ball, that's fine as long as there's no separation. Separation meaning that as long as there's no gap, if there's no gap between your arm and the ball, that's still fine. Even if you're not in control of it, there's no separation. But this, outside of scoring a try, yes, it would have been a knock-on. So just want to clarify that. So Moody gets this one. But I do think that the knock-on, where he kicked the ball, should have been a knock-on. You let me know that. Because remember Reece Zammit against England a while ago, where he like dropped the ball and he kicked it forward before the ball was hit the ground. And then it was deemed that was not a try, or should not have been a try, because he did knock the ball on. And I felt like this was the same issue. He knocked the ball on and he kicked it forward. But yeah, you could argue that he knocked the ball backwards, but I felt like that was a pretty clear knock on there. And so anyway, let me know your thoughts there. I'm not sure how they thought about that. The Springboks put on the full bench, all 8 players at 50 minutes. I thought this was risky. If somebody gets injured, they have to play with 14 players, but they were pretty confident on themselves. 53 minutes, another try from Esterhuizen. There was a yellow card as well on Wainwright for high hit on Sasha. The 61 minutes, there was a scrum collapse from the Welsh. The ball went out for Low, crashed down center field. Some good hands down the wing, and Sasha ran around the sideline for the try. 61 points to 0. 68 minutes, there was a quick penalty. Oh, no, this was a quick penalty where Sasha faked the touch, take another tap and go, and he got close, get tackled, and then Nokia pick and dry for the try. 68 points to 0. 73 minutes in the game, there was another scrum, lots of pick and go following this. Oh, sorry, this was a failed scrum from Wales. They tried to pick the ball up, and then the ball was knocked on from some pressure from what's his name? What's his name? The number 9 came off the field. Anyway, it was a knock on by from the Welsh own scrum, and the Springbok turned the ball over. Lots of pick and go, and then Eben Etzebeth crashed over for the try. And after this, 78 minutes, eye gouge, Eben Etzebeth sent off, straight red, and that was the unfortunate end to the game. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week for the news, and have a good weekend. Cheers, guys.